All right, we're rolling.
We're in this bitch. All right. Welcome back to the White Line podcast.
Yes, sir.
Still don't remember the episode we're on. Just bit my fucking tongue. Ow. So, we were thinking of the topic. This one's more like a debate because I know you have opposing views on it.
Mm,
And the debate is, bro, my tongue is fucked right now. This is so whack. The
mm.
debate is if everything happens for a reason. Because
Mhm.
you believe that it does. I don't. But I want to hear your reasoning for like why you believe everything happens for a reason.
All right. So first of all, let me just get this out the way. I already know you've put a good amount of thought and time into thinking about this. You just brought it up just now, so I'm going off the dome. That's the first thing.
All right. Well, this it's not like a debate. Like I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to like we're gonna get our thoughts out and then like whatever.
yeah, for sure. Um, so everything happens for a reason. Uh, I'm gonna just go with cause and effect, bro. On that level, I'm gonna just go cause and effect. Um, in terms of everything happens for a reason, if you get locked up, it's because you did something, right? Or you're around people that, you know, do things that aren't conducive of a law-abiding citizen, right? It's like on the very basic level, cause and effect, right? If my parents are brokies and I'm born into a brokey household, the likelihood of me being a brokey and growing up a brokey are 80% higher than anybody else, you know? So I think just on that first level, cause and effect, like everything happens for a reason. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can let me know what you think about that.
So, bro, it's funny because like I don't want to argue. Like you know what I mean? Like you're my guy. Like this is not trying to be like a fucking debate.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So I mean, obviously, if I stab myself in the hand and now I'm in pain, like I'm in pain because I stabbed myself in the hand,
Hmm.
right? But there are like 3 year olds that get brain cancer. Why? You know, it's like
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason. But like some things just make no fucking sense. Like it's I don't know, everyone's like God's plan, all that stuff. I personally, I don't think God like interferes with the world. Like I think God's real because we didn't just appear out of nowhere.
Hmm.
But I don't think God like really gives a fuck. Like nature wipes people out. Like was it part of God's plan that Japan got flooded with a tsunami and killed like 200,000 people, you know? And it's like,
Hmm.
oh, there is a reason for that. Like, was there really, or is just nature running its course? You know what I mean? It's just hard for me to believe that there's a reason for everything that happens. And as far as like karma goes, I think karma is real, but like not in the sense that people think karma is real. There are a lot of people that got away with the most fucked up shit and never had anything bad. Royalty. You
Hmm.
look at like Ivan the Terrible, one of the worst people to ever live, fucked more girls than I could even think of, had everything he's ever wanted, unlimited food, drinks, whatever. People praised him, feared him, whatever. Had all this shit and then died at pretty good age for like back then, you know?
Hmm.
And then there's also people that grew up in fucking Somalia and starved to death when they're 8 and they could have been like amazing human beings, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
How can I be like, yeah, that's God's plan? Like, you know, this is what God wanted, so this is how it happened. I
Hmm.
just I can't see things like that happening for a reason. I just think nature runs its course, and nature is just as much like beautiful as it is vicious. and that's kind of like just how the world runs, you know.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I definitely understand what you're saying, and it makes sense. Um, Part of the reason why I don't think about it like that is because I live a relatively selfish existence, right? Like, I mean, you're a human. Like, the the whole thing about humanity is like most of it is supposed to be a selfish existence, right? You think about yourself, and then eventually a family that you have, on your own and shit.
Mhm.
Um, so I definitely don't think about it like that because I'm like, maybe these people are just NPCs. Maybe I just don't even like, maybe they're not even real. Maybe
I
it's,
get that.
yeah, maybe it's just surrounding me, right? Maybe it's like,
Yeah.
it's happening for a reason so that I widen my perspective, like that's kind of how I think. It's like, okay, there are people like, starving in Africa or wherever it is. Like maybe it's just so that I have the perspective of, oh, I should finish my dinner plate because there's people out there starving. Like maybe like it's not even a real thing. No, really, like I've
No, I believe you. That's why it's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. I've genuinely thought about it, and it might be a lack of empathy or whatever, but I think about it like that all too often. Now, I do understand like maybe the world doesn't revolve around me, maybe it doesn't. Um, but I still think everything happens for a reason because, like you sort of said, just as much bad there's good, or just as much good there's bad. It's like maybe all the bad shit happens because there's people that are receiving so much, and there has to be equilibrium, and maybe it's unfair that one person is just getting the brunt of it and is just getting dog shit, and then the other person is also just fucking getting the luxury life. They were born into royalty or into riches, and they live their entire life without an issue, without a hiccup. Like it could totally be that where God or whoever, is just making the world completely and utterly equal.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we'll never know what's actually fair. Like fairness is a perception.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like if you cut my hair, you give an hour and a half of work, and I give you $50. Is that fair? Some people are like, he deserved 80. We'll
Yeah.
never know like what the balance is, and only God would know that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's like it's a weird area, bro. It's like I've come to terms with that I'll just never understand the world because it's not for me to understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
just I'm a fucking human. You know, I can't. Which like kind of bothers me where people are so sure that they know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm like, you have no fucking clue. You're just learning from other human beings that also have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Um, it's so there's no measuring rod for good or bad. It's kind of just it is, and then you kind of determine how you want. That's what really it is.
Mm-hmm.
We could literally end the podcast with it. Just determines how it's all determined on how you view it.
Pretty much. I mean,
That's really what it is. I
yeah.
just like from an individual standpoint, like people are like everything happens for a reason. I think that things happen and then we give them meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I fucking right now randomly punch my laptop, fucking break it. There's not like a divine reason that I did that. I'm just a fucking psycho. But in my head, I could rationalize it and be like, huh, well, now I need to work hard and get a new laptop. So now I can make better content. It's all like kind of in the eye of the holder. You know what I mean? If
Mm-hmm.
I have a fucking 5 year old son and he dies of cancer, I could be like, nothing happens for a reason. Life is horrible. Or I could be like, God is testing my faith in him right now.
Mm-hmm.
How loyal can I stay before crashing out? And then I'll have, if I stay true, I'll go away to heaven and be like, praised and good. Everything's going to be, which is why I think for a lot of people, like they need belief. Like someone like my dad is Hall of Fame crash out, man child psychopath. If he didn't have like the belief in Jesus, like he probably would fucking shoot himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he needs like something to explain what's happening to him. And I think that's why like religion is so important for people, because some people just like need an explanation. They need to trust that the bad things that are happening to them will eventually like resolve, and they'll have eternity in an afterlife where they're safe.
I get it. I think also that's a very weak sense of faith. I know for myself, although I somewhat like the bad situations brought me closer to God, brought me closer to Jesus, I'm always sure to give him his praises when the good happen. Like
right.
I never like, I'm not gonna say never, but like I like to believe that, I don't really take credit for much of the good things that happen to me, just because in that same light, like I know what you're talking about, because a lot of people, they want to blame or have an explanation for the bad things, and then they just sort of discredit the good things. But
A lot of people also, and like not to cut you off, but like I know we're gonna forget, people only pray when they're going through bad shit.
Yeah.
When you should just pray all the time. You know what I mean? But continue. I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, yeah, for sure. And like same thing that ties into it. It's like, if your faith in your God or Jesus is bound by, needing an explanation for bad things, then your faith is like, it's very weak. It's selfish, and it's I'm trying to find the right word. It's like it's basically really selfish, and
it's like needy.
Exactly. It's really needy, like it's almost like a female that can't take accountability,
Yeah.
And if you only run to God or to Jesus based on that, then you don't really have a relationship, and honestly, you're not deserving of the good things if you only run to him when it's the bad things. You also need to praise the good things. Like
Yeah.
there
It's like having a rich dad and you only use him for money.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, you know, I understand people's need for religion. I just feel like it's just a little bit too selfish. It's a little bit too selfish, and it almost just becomes useless at that point, and that's why a lot of people's faith isn't that strong. It's like, but I also do understand, because even in the situation with the whole car shit, uh even though it's been stressing me the fuck out, bro. Like, it's been stressing me the fuck out. Like, to drop a bag on a new car, it's a lot. And I've been going crazy, having, anxiety and all that other shit. And like you said, I could be rationalizing and giving something a meaning, right? I could be like, okay, maybe like the car broke down and all this other shit because God wants me to progress and, add a little pressure to me so that I move to the next level or whatever. Because, that's where I'm at now. That's what my thinking is like. Okay, God is trying to push me to the next stage in my life. Now it's 10K a month, or maybe I need to just present myself a bit better. And that very well may be it. But I also understand that, it may have just broke down just because it broke down, and that, it just is what it is. Yeah.
And there's just no fucking explanation.
Yeah.
It's just like, my car was going to break down because it sucks. And yeah, I guess it's just like how you decide to view things. You know what I mean? I know for me personally, like, I've come to terms with the cruelty of the world, and I know I'm not subjected to have an easy life because other people aren't subjected to have an easy life. And I
Mm-hmm.
genuinely also believe I have a much easier life than most people do.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about like mad heads grow up in India, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I'd rather be fucking homeless in the
Yeah.
U.S. and go live in a shelter than live in fucking India, bro.
Type shit.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm like, when bad shit happens, I'm never like oh, why me? Like why? I'm just like I've had a pretty decent life like so far. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? I could fucking deal with this, and even if it's some crazy shit, like it's easy to say because I'm didn't happen. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like some wild shit, like my mom dies, God
Mm-hmm.
forbid, right? Some shit like that. There are other people I know whose moms have died and they're okay. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'll live. I don't need an explanation for it. Bad shit happens. I could be like, okay, well, now is a test to like how well can I navigate life without that comfort. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Amor fati, me Marcus Aurelius quote. I have it tatted on me. To love one's fate, and it's basically whatever cards you're dealt. Use it to fuel the fire. You know, because it's your fate and it's what is happening to you. So you can either basically like let it drown you out, or you could create a bigger fire with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is all perspective. And bro, we're all human beings, right? But I hear you when you're saying that some people are just like side characters for you to develop.
Mm-hmm.
That is also a perspective. Life in itself is perspective. But like, why are there retarded people, bro?
No,
No,
yeah, yeah.
like it's almost like there's retarded people so that like people could take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that fucked? But like, how could I give that meaning? Like, how could I be like, God wanted this retarded person here, so this normal person could character develop? It's like, do they not have the same right as us? Like they do.
Yeah.
Like, isn't
Yeah.
that fucking insane? Like, what?
It's crazy. It's crazy, but I don't know. I mean, that kind of brings me to another idea that I had or that I have is I'm about to forget, but I'm trying to remember.
Nah, take your time, bro. It don't matter.
Yeah.
You guys can skip through the video if you want. Give Niall his 20 seconds.
Yeah, yeah, my 20 seconds.
You guys all have TikTok brain, and you don't know how to fucking wait.
Oh, yeah, I think I was gonna talk about the whole God thing and how a big reason as to why I believe in Jesus and I believe in God and stuff like that. Outside of like you introducing me to Stephen
That
Furtick or
book.
whatever. No,
Yeah,
no, no,
yeah.
yeah, Stephen Furtick. Um
Oh, right.
yeah, outside of that, bro, like it makes you I don't like, I enjoy running to God when there's things that go wrong. But the biggest part is realizing and like no homo, but like submitting to something greater than myself and like not being so self-absorbed and like realizing that I don't even think of it like a greater purpose for me. I just think of it like a greater purpose, right? Like I literally when I pray, you know, I say, I think we may have discussed this, but like, you're my shepherd, I'm your sheep and shit like that. Like I literally just want to be guided in the direction that God takes me in. And whether it's for me or for him, it doesn't even matter. It all of it is for him, right? And I just I feel like that's like one of the parts that that makes me believe that that there is a reason for everything is just like,
You feel like you're like
I feel like I'm living for God, you know?
you're his tool.
Exactly. I'm his tool. And it's like I don't, all throughout my life, all throughout high school, I was doing like shit for me, like, you know, and that's why everything was so personal. You know, like when you get rejected from a girl,
Yeah,
it's so fucking personal because you're just so self-absorbed and you're just like, ah, this bitch don't like me, and like, you know, I'm ugly, I'm skinny, and like you're just so worried about yourself, right? And then almost like how I feel like most people or some people have an understanding of how you're a little fucking dot in the grand scheme of like the entire universe, you know, like you ever see those videos where they like zoom out of the earth
hmm
and then you realize exactly like you're so like fucking insignificant and minuscule in the whole like grand scheme. That's how I feel, but I almost feel like an appreciation for it. It's like, yeah, like I don't fucking matter, you know, like who
that's
cares?
how bro. That's how I live. I don't give a fuck.
Exactly. It's like I could drive a shit box or I could drive a nice car. I could wear the same fucking clothes as 10th grade or I could wear nice clothes. Like it doesn't
Bro,
change anything.
that's like, and we kind of talked about it like last time too. That's also why, like, if I suffer, I don't care
Mm-hmm.
because, like, everyone suffers. You know, I'm not subjected to a hard life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. If I get fucked up in boxing,
Yeah.
so, you know, like, it just doesn't, it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah,
But I
no.
have an appreciation for that because if everything really did matter, can you imagine the pressure?
It'd be crazy.
But
It'd be
that's like
absolutely crazy.
people say that they're like, I can't handle this pressure. I'm gonna give it up to God, and that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I just understand that like one, I have it easier, and two, I'm just like my time will pass, and then nobody's gonna think of me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't care like about pressure like that. Even like I was watching this thing with Mike Tyson, and he was like they interviewed him in his house, and this was like before the whole like Jake, like when he kind of got famous again as he got older. This was like when he was like 45,
Mm-hmm.
50 or something, you know. And they were he was showing them. He was going through the house, and they were like, "Oh my god, look at these titles." He was like, "It means fucking nothing." He was
Yeah.
like, "All the thousands, millions of hours I put in to become a champion, I get a belt, and this means absolutely nothing. It's fucking garbage. A million other people are going to have belts just like this one, and no one's going to remember the belt I wore."
Mm-hmm.
And he's Mike Tyson. Who the fuck am I? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
even if I got famous, a lot of people got famous. Like, who the fuck? Like, I don't care. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that pressure on me because I just genuinely don't care. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I
one
I
thing.
mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, with that, I think this is where our views also like are slightly different, but with the whole pressure thing, it's not that I don't care about it. It's more so I think of it like it's just a part of the process. And it's something that my mom has been saying to me over and over again the past couple of weeks. She just keeps saying like it's a part of it. Like this is adulthood. Like every fucking shitty thing is just like this is a part of the process. Like every single time. And it's true. It's literally a part of the process.
Right. When I say I don't care, like if I don't care, I'm gonna lay in my bed and never get out.
Mhm.
I don't let it like affect me like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, I care because you know, have a podcast and I make conscious efforts to make money.
hmm
Not caring is like I'm not getting out of bed today because I'm gonna die either way. Like, no, that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is part of the process, and like that's what I'm like feeling suffering and feeling pressure. I just know I'm not like not subjected to it. You know what I mean?
hmm
Everyone does. So when it happens to me, I have kind of a detachment to it where I'm just like, okay, life kind of fucking sucks right now. It eventually will be better. Also, it eventually might not be better. Some people started suffering, never stopped, and then died. But even then, I'm also not subjected to suffering stopping.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
just am aware of that. Like, and I don't care. It's like, what am I going to do? I'm either going to live through something or drop dead, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But one thing I also wanted to talk about was like, I kind of said it before, but I didn't get to elaborate on it. The concept of karma, I believe karma is real, but like not in the sense that most people think. There are people that got away with insane crimes,
Mm-hmm.
bunch of crazy shit. We kind of talked about that. Like, I was having like a bro talk. Like, I was just talking shit. And it was a joke, but it actually made me think. P. Diddy, I think it was my second time. Did I bring up? No, that was in another video I made by myself. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the second time I talk about Diddy this week. Besides the point. Hey, yo, pause.
Yeah.
Um, would you rather live 90 years a normal guy or live 55 years like P. Diddy? And I mean like without like, you have the option not to touch kids and shit, obviously. But 55 years with the billions of dollars, parties, all that shit like P. Diddy, and then spend the rest, like the 30 in jail.
You're asking me?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a regular guy, to be honest.
I would too, but I think a lot of people would rather just be like a billionaire for 55 years than be like a nobody for 90.
I mean, there's not really much to being a billion. I mean, like, sure, there's stuff to being a billionaire, but like nothing that I'm interested in. Like, you already know, ain't no parties, no.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Same with me too.
yeah, it's like, I mean, the money would be cool, like maybe getting to see places, but I'm not sure Diddy's really soaking up the fucking sun and like looking at the trees and shit. I'm sure he's
He's
getting
soaking up something else.
yeah, he's soaking up, he's oiling up
that
fucking
that pussy.
yeah. So
Oh hell, he's oiling up Meek Mill.
yeah,
Oh
nah.
hell
So
no.
I mean, like, it really, yeah, probably just regular dude. I mean, I'd like to be a little bit above average. Like, I wouldn't want to just be
The average
straight.
guy is fucking horrible, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd want to be a little bit above that, but you know, being a
yeah,
billionaire doesn't really entice me that much.
yeah. All right, I feel you. Anyway, now that that's out the way, I believe in karma is like internal because everything's also perspective, right?
Mhm.
There's some people that are just like scumbags and they might not ever suffer a consequence in the external realm, but their karma is just that they're themselves. Like, I would never want to be like that evil, like, because it can't be good, like, mentally. Like, can you imagine just being a fucking piece of shit, like how bad you must feel about yourself, or even if you don't feel bad about yourself, but just knowing everyone hates you for who you are,
Mhm.
that's like karma as enough. Like, fucking you could like put me through horrible shit in the external realm. I could sleep at night knowing I'm a real one. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That I don't fuck people over and I don't like
Touch little
stab
kids.
my touch little kids, stab my friends in the fucking back. Shit like that. Like, I would rather suffer as me than succeed as someone else who's a scumbag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just how I am. So that's the way I see karma, because I've also seen way too many people get away with shit and then they just live their lives like with no consequence.
No, yeah, I definitely get that. I definitely get that. And that makes a lot of sense actually, like it happening like internally too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired, but
No,
fucking
you're good. We'll wrap it up.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, like you already know karma speaks, bro. Like I definitely I believe in karma, and I do think that it can be represented like internally and externally and shit like that. I
Mhm.
think yeah, I think I would start to hate myself if everybody hated me and I just felt like I wasn't doing right. I just hate myself. I don't know if I would kill myself, but like you would just kind of live like a miserable life, you know? Like you would have nothing to look forward to when you wake up, I think, you know?
Yeah, or if even like people who live like brutally easy lives,
Hmm.
that's fucking awful. Like you guys have no like mental strength. Like how are and like you're aware of the things that people go through. I was kind of just talking about this with my girl, bro. Um, like I'm a trainer. Some of my clients, there's just no helping them. Like they're always gonna be fucking fat because they're just lie about what they eat, and then I'll eventually get it out of them. So we'll talk about like diet, and they're like, "No, like I am in a deficit, and I'm not losing weight." That's literally impossible unless you have a genuine thyroid issue. If you are statistically in a deficit, you are losing weight. It's impossible not to lose weight in a deficit. But then I'll get it out of them, and they'll be like, "Yeah, well, like I could go through like a whole bottle of wine on the weekend, and I allow myself like 2 cheat meals, but I replace it with another meal." Then I'm like, "Well, what is it?" They're like, "I'll do like a burger and a cheesecake." I'm like, "Yeah, like there's your
Yeah.
deficit. Like goodbye, you know."
Yeah.
But it's like they could live a really good, easy life, but they could never go through the things I go through. And that is enough that to make me feel like that's their karma. Like they couldn't go through any training that I've ever went through. I fucking take it easy on them half the time because they're fucking losers, you
Hmm.
know. Their karma is them being themselves, and I would never want to do that.
Yeah. I
So,
think I think you see that only applies if they're a person with perspective, right? Like even with my girl, right? When I was explaining to her, look, bitch, I don't come from much. I was explaining, like, she comes from a family that are pretty well off.
mm,
She gets a new car when she turns 16. Sister gets a new car. Boat, all that kind of shit, right?
oh hell no.
Type shit. But
Yeah,
it's like she would have never even known that that was like not normal, or that like wasn't even an option for other people, unless she met me and actually like got to see like what it's like, or maybe even just hear the stories of me like as a kid, like different,
yeah,
like if they're just in their bubble, like if she just stayed in her hometown around other people where they got their cars bought at 16 and like all this other, that's all they're gonna know. Same thing with even North Babylon, like those kids, half of them aren't even gonna like comprehend or understand what is poverty, like,
mm,
they're just kind of like so oblivious. Like they go from living a nice life in North Bab to going up to some fucking fancy school in Boston or some shit, and then getting drunk every weekend, getting sent an allowance from their fucking parents, and then they come home, they stay there for a couple years, and then they finally get a big kid job and just are spoiled all the way through,
yeah,
and they never gain that perspective and that point of view of, wow, this other person actually went through some shit. This person had
yeah.
to work their ass off to get a car, or this person had to work their ass off to get jacked,
But that's their karma, and it's all perspective,
but
and
but the,
that's like
they have to have the perspective to feel the karma, because if they don't, they're
right,
just oblivious to it.
right. But like in my eyes, that's their karma. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Yeah.
They like in their eyes, their karma is like, well, I'm a good person. I have a lot of things. They don't know that they're missing out on like internal toughness and like the fucking blessings of struggle.
Hmm.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's all in the eye of the holder, and that's like what life is. And I could end this entire podcast with the first topic we had was wow, we're so far gone.
Does everything happen?
Everything happened for a reason.
Yeah.
It's perspective, and he could give you meaning you could give the audience one answer, and I could give the audience one answer, and they might agree with you, they might agree with me, they might take a little from each side and make their own perspective, and that's the fucking answer to it. Because whether what I say or what you say, we are not God. We do not have the answers. And everything we do in all these podcasts, we do. Our word is not bond. Like, there's not. Nobody actually knows anything. We're just using our best guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And if you choose to listen to us, I hope we provide value.
Yes, sir. That's what we're trying to do.
So we'll end it on that note. We know absolutely nothing. You know absolutely nothing. And until next time.
Yeah. Catch you.